All right. So for edit link, first thing we need our service layer ready. Okay. So in service, we have link service. We will create a new method in this link service. And then we will need one separate DTO for this. So we'll go to our client project and DTOs. And here I'm going to create a new DTO. Let's say link edit DTO.cs. And I'm going to create it as a record. We need ID, string long URL. This first thing is link ID, on the basis of which we'll find the link from our database. Then we can modify link URL for that link, and we can modify is active, and we'll need user ID. So these are all the things we are going to use with link edit DTO. User ID to determine that this link belongs to this user only, with ID and user ID, and we can modify long URL and is active. We are not going to modify a short URL, okay, because then if we have shared it somewhere, then the existing links will break and we won't have all that that analytics and all that stuff. So that's why we can change the target URL, basically long URL. So initially maybe that short URL was pointing to some other URL, and after that we modified that and now it is pointing to some other URL, something like this. Okay. All right. So now let's go to link service, and before link service, maybe let's go to iLink service interface. And in this interface, we are going to create a method which will return task of link DTO. We'll say update link async, and it will take link edit DTO as a parameter. And now we'll define this. So in link service, let's implement this method here. It needs to be async. First, we need our context. So await using var context equals underscore db context factory context factory dot create db context. After this, we will get the link from the database. So we'll say db link equals await context dot links dot first dot default async, and here we'll say where link dot id l.id equals dto.id and l.user id equals dto.user id. All right. So we need this link from database. Then we'll check if link is db link is null. We'll simply return null from here, although this should not come here, but still it's always a good idea to handle all these cases. You can have some maybe messaging here or logging here, it's up to you. All right, after this, when we have db link ready, then we are going to modify the long URL and is active on this. So let's do that. So we'll say db link dot long URL equals dto.long URL and db link dot is active equals dto.isActive. All right, and after that we'll say context dot links dot update db link, and then we'll say await context dot save changes async. Now we have modified the link, and after this we'll simply return link DTO with the updated values, of course. So return new link DTO, ID is active, long URL, short URL. Now this will come from dblink.short URL, and then total clicks. So dblink dot link analytics dot count. All right. Now there is one issue with this link analytics dot count. If we are directly using first or default tracing, it is not going to get the navigation property. So what we can do, we can use include here, which is eager loading, l dot analytics, link analytics. Or do we need this total clicks here? Because in between total clicks are not being updated, so we can do this. On the UI, we just want to show that this has updated. So using this, we are actually making it less performant. We are using this include, which is going to create a query with the SQL joins, all that. But for this, maybe we can skip this thing. If you want, you can do this, or maybe you can try to find some another approach for this. Maybe second database strip if we came here or something like that. It's up to you. But we'll simply skip this for now. All right. So our update link async method is ready. And what is the issue it is saying? Task link DT. All right. It is saying that in interface we don't have this question mark. So let's go to interface and we'll say the return type will be link TTO question mark. All right. Now we'll add this service or maybe this logic throughout the complete hierarchy or complete tree. So that means we have this in iLink service, we have in link service, then we need this in our endpoint. So we'll go to endpoint, link endpoints. Here we have this map get, map post on this links group. So here we'll define one more endpoint. So links group dot map patch. This is going to be a patch request. And here API slash links slash, now we are going to have link ID, which will be of type int. All right. Then we'll have this async and we'll inject, but before that we will get link added DTO as a parameter. So DTO, then we'll inject iLink service, link service, and we'll inject claims principal to get the user ID principal. All right. And now we can define body for this. So now we can follow this approach what we have followed for creation of this. So let's copy all of this in map patch, and here, and yeah, we need link ID as well, so we'll use this link ID here, link ID, and this is going to be of type int. Okay. Now first thing, we are getting user ID and then we are checking if this user ID and what the user ID we got from this client, these are same or not. Then we'll use this. And then let's add one more check here. We'll check if link ID is not equals the DTO dot ID to make it, this is an extra check actually. So if that's the case, we can simply say results dot maybe not found, because this is an invalid request actually, but we can say not found. All right. After that, we'll check here. We'll use link and then we'll say update link async and we'll provide this DTO. And after this, we'll again check if we have this link or not. If this link is null, the updated link, if that's the case, that means we are returning null if we are not able to find this link in the database. Maybe this link does not exist, this link ID is incorrect, or maybe this link does not belong to this particular user. So from here we'll say results dot not found, because now this is an invalid request. If everything is fine, then we'll simply say results dot okay and we'll return this link. All right. Save everything and now we are good with endpoint. After this, we'll go to our client project. In services, we'll go to iLink API, which is the Refit client interface. Here we'll define one more method to make HTTP call for our newly created this newly created endpoint. So the return type is task of link DTO nullable. We'll say update link async, and it expects edit link DTO, or what was that, link edit DTO. Okay, and this is a patch request, so we'll say patch, and then we'll define URL here. So it will be API/links/link ID. Now we'll use this link ID as a parameter here as well. So we'll say int link ID and then link edit DTO. Okay, now we are good. Now we'll go to link API proxy, and here we'll define this new method. We'll implement it from this iLink interface here, update link async. So from here, what we can do, we can simply say underscore link API dot update link async, and then we can define this link ID. So we need link ID first, which we can use from DTO only, DTO.link ID or DTO.id, and then we'll provide this DTO, so direct DTO here. And now our link API proxy is also ready. So all the calls and everything is ready. Now we are good to work on our UI. Okay, so I'll close all these and I'll go to pages, app, and my links.razor page. Now on this, we need one form to edit this link. We can create a new page, or maybe on this same page we can open a modal pop-up for this. So let's use modal pop-up. All right, so what we'll do, we'll simply go to our shared components and we'll create a new Razor component here, Blazor component. So we'll say, let's say edit link modal dot razor. Okay, and here what we'll do, we'll have our edit form. Inside this edit form, first thing we'll use data validation annotation and data annotations validator. After that, we are going to have our modal, which we already have. So we have modal, and inside this modal, now we are going to define our form, the form we need. Okay, with the long URL and is active fields. Okay, so here inside this model, it is saying that title is required, child content, and on close. These three are required. Okay, so let's define title first. We'll say edit link. Then it is saying child content, so we can provide child content here. We are having this named render fragment because we want to have buttons in footer as well. So child content and footer content. We'll have HTML for both of these, and then we need to provide on close as well. Okay, now this is a component which we are going to use on mylinks.razor page. So we need some data from mylinks page to this. First thing, we need the link DTO, which we want to use to update the link details, right? So we'll say public link DTO link, and this is going to be a parameter and editor required because this is required for this component to work. Okay, after that we can maybe get user ID as well. So we'll say public string user ID, and here we'll say parameter and editor. We can get editor this user ID here as well, but we are already getting this user ID from the auth state in the previous page in mylinks.razor page. So it's better to pass that to this component. All right, then we'll define our on close here. So we'll say event callback on close. This is also going to be parameter and editor required. All right, after that we will have one more event So when we are saving the updating this link, then we will notify the its parent, which is mylinks.razor page, that this has saved and this is the updated data, something like that. So we will have one more public event callback, and this time it is going to be generic version of this. So we'll provide link DTO. This is the updated link, we'll say. So on save, okay, get and set, and this is going to be parameter and editor required. So we need all these 4 parameters for this component to work. All right, now on close, we can directly call our on close method here. All right, now inside child content, footer content, we need to, in footer content we need to have our buttons, and in child content we need to have our the form, the fields to modify long URL and is active. All right, so for that form, for this edit form, we need one model, okay, with those two properties, the long URL and is active. So that model is going to be used on this component here only. So let's create a private class here. So we'll say class, let's say edit link model, and we are going to have two properties here. First is public string long URL, and we'll add data annotation validation here. So data annotations basically, so that this edit form can use this data annotations validator. So we'll say required, first thing is this, it is required from system component model, and then we'll use length attribute. We'll define minimum length and maximum length. Let's say minimum is 10 and maximum is 250. After that, we will define one more property of type bool, that is active. So we need these two things here. Now in this component we need to define our model. So we'll say private edit link model underscore model equals new, and now we can use this underscore model with this edit form. So here we'll say edit form underscore model, edit form model equals underscore model. Okay, after that we will use on valid submit. If everything is fine, we are submitting it. So now we need to update this link in the database. So we'll say update link async, and then we'll define this method here. We'll say private async task update link async, and we can have our logic here. Now here also we will have that loading state. So let's have a private bool variable, let's say is saving, and inside this update link async we'll first set is saving to true. Okay, then we'll generate our link edit DTO. So link edit DTO equals new link edit DTO, and it needs ID, which is link ID, so we can get from link.id. Then we need long URL. So this thing we need it updated, so we can get it from model. So underscore model dot long URL. Then we have is active. This is also we'll get from model. So model dot is active, and then user ID we are getting it as a parameter, so we are good. Now our link edit DTO is ready. It is saying something long to int. So link edit DTO, it is int. Oh, it should be long. It should be long. All right. Okay. Now link edit DTO. Now we can simply say var updated link equals. Now we'll inject our ilink service here. So we'll say inject ilink service. We'll call it link service, and on this link service we are going to call our method. So await link service dot update link async, we'll pass DTU from here. So link added DTU. Alright, and after this we'll say await, and we can use our own save dot invoke async, and we can provide our link DTU, which is actually this updated link. Okay, and if we want to have everything updated, so we can use updated link dot total clicks equals link dot total clicks if we want this as well. So we'll be using this thing here. All right, so now we are good. All right, now when we are first coming to this, we have this link ready, but with this model underscore model, this will be empty, but we need this to be filled from this link. All right, so for this, what we can do, we can override a method that is on parameter set. Okay, and in this on parameter set, we can say underscore model equals new, and here we can define is active equals link dot is active, and long URL equals link dot long URL, like this. And now we are good. Now we are good to use this component, but before that, let's have the form ready. So in this child content, we are going to have div class mb3 margin bottom 3. Here we are going to have a label with the class form label, and here we'll say okay, let's do this. Let's display the short URL as well. That what is the short URL right now for which we are updating the long URL. We can have it. So here we can have input type text, and we can have value at link dot short URL. We can have class form control, and then we can add read only here, so that it is read only. We are not able to modify it. We should not modify it. All right, now we'll have one more div with class same mb3, and here again we are going to have a label with class form label, and here we'll say long URL. We need long URL now, and here we'll say input text with bind value equals underscore model dot long URL, and with class we'll say the same form control. Okay, and after this input text, we'll have our validation message for underscore model dot long URL. Alright, so now our validation will be ready with this. Now we'll have is active checkbox. So we'll say div class mb3, and here we'll have form check. This comes from Bootstrap. Okay, inside this we are going to have one input type checkbox. I'm having this like this so that I can have my own design with this. So input type checkbox, we'll have a class which will be form check input. I guess this is correct class, form check input. Then we can bind. Here I'm using bind. I'm not using bind value because this bind value, this one is Razor component, Blazor specific. So this will be applied on this input text and all these custom components. But this input, this is pure HTML element. So here I'm just binding it with underscore model dot is active. So it will handle changes with this is active field. All right. Now after this, I'm going to have a label which will related to, which will be related to this input. So when we are connecting one input with some label, then we can use id and for collection. So we need to have id on the input box, so let's say is active, and we need to have for attribute on the label element. So here I will say is active like this, and here again we'll say class form label, and the text we will have is active. Alright, so looks like we are good with this. Now we can have our buttons in footer content. So we'll have same close and save changes button or update link button. So we can simply use the approach we have used on, let's say, generated link model. Right here we had these two buttons, close and copy. So let's copy this thing, which will have one div with display flags to have those two buttons on left and right. So T flags justify content between, align item center and width 100%. We'll have one close button which will be used for closing this modal pop-up. And then second button we'll use it for saving the changes. So let's say save changes, and here we will not have on click, we will just have this button as a submit button. So button type submit. So when we click on this, it will simply trigger the edit form submission, this submit thing on this edit form. So save it, and now we are good to use this component. So let's go back to our my links page. Here on this my links page, when we click on edit button, we are going to have one variable here. So let's have it here. We'll say private link DTO, and this is going to be nullable. We'll say underscore edit link. All right, and by default this will have null value, and we'll go to our markup here where we have our edit button. This edit button here, what we'll do on this button's click, we'll say @on click. Here we are going to say, we are going to call this thing where we'll say underscore edit link equals this current link, which is going to be context. Okay, and now when we have this underscore edit link ready, then what we'll do, we'll simply render that edit link modal. So here we'll have one check. We'll check if underscore edit link is not null, then you need to render this edit link modal. And on this edit link modal, we need couple of things. We need link, user ID, on close, on save. Okay, so on link we'll provide this underscore edit link, which is the link we are editing right now. After that we need on close. So when on close is getting triggered, we'll simply set underscore edit link equals null, so that it removes this modal from here, because now we don't need this because we clicked on close button. All right, now after this we need to have user ID and save. So for user ID, we already have this user ID here, and if we see, we have this user ID here in on initialized async. So let's do this. Let's have a private variable here. So private string underscore user ID, and we'll fill this underscore user ID in this on initialized async, and then we can use this underscore user ID wherever we are using it. So when we are getting this link by user, then we'll use this underscore user ID, and we can use this underscore user ID here as well. So we'll say underscore user ID. So we are passing link, we are passing user ID, we are passing on close, and then we'll pass our on save. Now on save, we have two approaches. First approach is let's do this. When we are modifying this, when we are updating any link, we can simply refresh the grid. That will be the quickest solution, if I would say. Right? Or maybe we can use pass by reference and value approach. So here what we'll do, let's first define a method. Let's stop this thing, or maybe on save, we'll simply call a method. Let's say on link saved, and then we'll define this method here. In our code, we'll say private void on link saved, and because we know that this gets link DTU as a parameter, so we'll have this as this link. Now what we can do, we can simply say underscore edit link, which is the current editing link from our grid. So on this we'll say long URL equals this link dot long URL, that means the updated long URL. Then we'll say edit link dot is active with this updated link dot is active. All right, till now here we know that this is not going to be null, because that's the case when we will see this model pop up and then this method is going to be called. Now after setting these two things, now we have saved link in the database, we got the response back, and we have updated the data on this grid, because right now this is passing as reference, because we passed that @context to the edit link. This context is actually that row, so reference of that row, that link DTU. So now it should be updated with these two things. After that we'll say underscore edit link equals null. Now that reference is break. Now this is not passing by reference. That this is how pass by reference and pass by value works, right? It will be passed as a reference until we have assigned something to that complete reference type, basically. All right, so now we have this ready. Now it's good time to test it out. All right, let's run it. And there is some error. Let's see what is it. We have link edit DTO. What is the error here? Link edit DTO, this is long, this is long. Error list, okay, cannot convert long to int. Update link async. In this method we have this int, it should be long. If this is long, then we need to change our endpoint. Here it should be, instead of int, it should be long, and it should be long. Save everything, let's run. Okay, it is here. If we'll go to my links, here we can see these links, and now if I click on edit, I can see this first one, which is 1234, and the long URL is abcd.com, and this is without anything in the slash. It was the first link which we checked. This is not going to be valid link, but this was just for test data, so we are good. Now in this long URL, let's say abcd.com !a equal to b. I have added this thing, and if I plus save changes, I can see underscore !a equals b, and if I refresh this, I'm refreshing this page, so we should have that data from database, and now we can see this thing. That means the we didn't see loader, right? If I press edit, I uncheck this is active, and this also did not get changed to that cross. If I refresh it, where is it? Oh, it will be in all links. If I go to yeah, it is here. First, let's see why that loader is not coming. If we go to edit link modal, and the loader is not coming because we are using this it's saving field, but we are not showing the it's saving, that loader for this is saving. So first thing we'll do, underscore is saving, after updated link we'll say it's saving equals false, or maybe after all this, or before invoking this thing. Here we'll say if underscore is saving, if this is true, then we'll display our loader. Let's stop it and run it. Okay, it is here. We'll go to my links. First one, hs and abcd.com. Let's edit abcd.com question mark aa equals 1 2 and is active false. If I press save changes, we can see the loader. And hs, this did not get updated. If you go to show all links, here we can see this hs and aa equals 2. Was it not there, or what happened? Something happened. Okay. All right. So there is one problem here, one issue here. So when I say edit this first one, and I'm just updating abcd.com to, let's say, https bing.com. I'm changing it. Save changes. I did not touch that is active flag, so I can see this URL got changed. This is fine. But if I edit it and I uncheck this is active and I press save changes, then it got updated this time, which is not a good thing, because if this that inactive thing is here, but we are right now looking at just active links, not all links, so it should not be here. If we are changing it, it should simply get removed from this page. Okay, and it should come when we are displaying show all links, then only it should come. Same thing should happen with this one. Let's say I'm editing it, I'm setting it to is active, save changes. Now, yeah, for this we are good, because when we are showing all links, then it makes sense to show inactive and active both the links. But when we are on active links, then it should not happen, right? It should not happen here. So one thing is, we can check if it was active earlier and now it is inactive. We can simply remove this context. But how can we remove it? Even if we are able to remove it somehow, then this page will have less number of records. In that case, if we have paging of 5 items per page, we will have 4 items only, right? So what we can do, if we are changing this is active status, this is active flag, then what we can do, we can simply refresh the grid for that particular case only. We will not refresh the grid for other cases. All right, so let's have that check. This should be on my links.razor page in our on link saved here. Long URL we'll update regardless, whatever it was. Now we will check if underscore edit link dot is active, that means this was is active, and the link which is coming, this updated link dot is active, is false. Let's rename this link to updated link so that we can see that something. Okay, let's stop the debugging first. Here we'll say and it is not working. So let's update it manually. Updated link. So we'll say updated link, updated link, updated link. Alright. Now here we know that this link was active before and now user made it inactive. If that's the case, after this we will check if we are on the active links page. So we'll check if what was the show active only is true. That means we are showing only active links, but this link is inactive now, but this link got inactive now. So this link does not belong on this page. This link does not belong to this page now. So refresh the grid. Alright, this is the case we are doing. So here we'll say await, and now when we are saying await, we'll make it private async task or link saved. Here we'll say underscore grid dot refresh data async. Alright. Now if that's not the case, here we know that grid is not null. If that's not the case, that means link was active, was updated, but we are okay. And let's cut this thing from here. We need to check where should we have this line. Added link dot is active equals updated link dot is active. We should have this if so long URL is fine. Let me think. And now we are changing. It was not active before, but what if we have the reverse? On active, we will not be able to see inactive, so we are good with that. If we are on all pages and we are changing is active, so we are okay to change this on this UI. So that means we can have it here without any problem. Okay, the only thing which we'll do, if we are refreshing the grid, yeah, then also we'll need to edit this link. And this edit link dot is active, this is not going to belong here if we are doing this. Okay, let's do this. After refreshing the grid, we'll simply set edit link to null and we'll return from here. If that's not the case, if it came to this one, that means this either this active was not changed or we are not on active only page right now. So in that case, we updated long URL first, then we are updating is active, and then we are setting edit link to null. So removing that edit link modal, and now we are good. It should handle all the cases. Let's quickly try it out. Okay, we are here. We'll go to my links page. Alright, we are on active links. We will modify the first one. We'll change abcd.com question mark or maybe slash abcd slash 123, something like this. I'm not changing is active. I'm saving this save changes. It should have updated this, but it did not update it. And why didn't it updated? If I'll refresh it, it was this same thing, right? VINEQA, or was it some other URL? We are not displaying ID here. We should have that ID. Let's do this. Let's go to homepage. Let's create a new URL. Let's use this my YouTube link only. So https youtube.com/Abhay Prince. Shorten URL. We'll go to my links, and this link will be somewhere at the last page. Here it is. It is JKEE at the very end. So we'll edit it. we'll simply modify Abhay Prince 123, save changes, and we can see Abhay Prince 123. That means this long URL is getting changed. Now if I edit it again, I'll remove this, save it, we are good. Now if I come here, I'll say 123 and I'll make this inactive to false. Now if I press save changes, now it got removed from here. This grid got refreshed and we are now can see there are 17 items. But initially earlier it was 18 items. Now if I go to show all links, here we should see that we have 21 items. If we go to the last page, here we have this updated long URL and this inactive. From here if we edit, make it is active, remove this 123, we'll say save changes, it got updated, this got updated, and we are on the same page. So that means everything is working as expected. So edit link is working now as we are expecting it to work. It is changing. We can change the is active, we can change the long URL, and we can simply, we are moving the, if link is inactive now, it will simply move to all links, and if we are on all links, we can see all the links. Third, fourth, we can see, if we go to the first page, we can see these inactive links, link copied. Alright, so that means edit link functionality is fine. Next thing we'll work on delete link functionality. Okay, so let's close all.